All right. So, without further ado, we have a very special speaker here today. And in fact, the reason why we have this event today in the middle of the summer is because our speaker that's coming up today, because he lives here in the Valley. And if we wanted him to speak at our event, we had to have it in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I'm very excited to introduce this next person to you. I had the joy to meet him and work with him and do several videos a few months back. And I think some of you are in this room because you were on his list, and that's how you were introduced to me, and that's why you are where you are today. So you make sure you thank him later as well. But if you guys don't know Robert Kiyosaki, obviously he's got several things up here. Some of his products, they have the whole Rich Dad education, where he's a multi-million-dollar top-selling author. He's been doing that for many years. I'm not sure exactly how many years, but he's been working his own business for many, many years. And he believes in entrepreneurship. And for some of you guys that saw some of the stuff, the book how many people read the book that, look at that. How many people in this room are here today because of that book? That's why we have Robert here today. So I don't need to introduce him anymore. Let's have Robert Kiyosaki. Big hand for Robert Kiyosaki, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So the question is, has anybody not yet read this book? One or two. Thank you very much. There's some customers out there yet, So anyway, I'm honored to be here, and more importantly, I congratulate you for being here. I think you're doing probably the smartest thing you could be doing today, especially at this time in history. I wish there was a program like this when I was starting out, but thank God I had my rich dad, who was my best friend's father. And he was my guide, my coach, my mentor, my ass kicker, and stuff like this. So, you're entering, in my experience, it's one of the toughest journeys anybody can begin, and it's to be an entrepreneur. So it's very smart to be with Amazing, to get guidance, to seek mentors who are doing the real thing. The other thing too is that, like when I'm so old, I was born before there was television, if you can imagine that. And when television came in, I grew up in a little town called Hilo, Hawaii, the sugar plantation town. When we got television, it was, oh my God, what is that, And now there's 12 million television stations, and they're all going broke. But because this is taking over here. I also remember being an entrepreneur before this. It was hard. When I was sourcing products, I had to take time off. I was working at Xerox, and I had to fly from Honolulu to Hong Kong to go to the Connaught Center and then actually look for suppliers and all that stuff, because there was no way of meeting people. They couldn't source real fast. Today, in many ways, it's so much easier. Comes in, you can check many people out without traveling. And the same thing was I had to go find warehousing space in New York, which is really a trip. And on top of that, I was going broke. So all of that, it was a great experience and all this stuff. So that's why I congratulate you here. It's best you get as much as you can before and get some experience under your belt, because there's two different types of learning. One is self-learning. For example, most of us learn to walk by ourselves. We didn't go to class and take notes on how to walk, And most of us learn to ride a bicycle off. But when you start going past that, like I was a pilot for the Marine Corps, so it's nice to look at the field out here. If you're going to become a pilot, you better fly with a pilot. But what most people do when they start a business, they fly with an idiot. You know what I mean? So. And they wonder why they go. So anyway, congratulations. I'm very proud of you. How many people are learning a lot right now? Good. Lesson, don't start. Anybody that says they know all their answers, run, turn away from them. Don't listen to them. Because I'm constantly learning. Like I was watching my friend Donald Trump last night on stage, when everybody's, how many people saw that last night? Yeah. So when they said, I don't really know if you like him or hate him. I don't think he gives a shit either. You know what I mean? That's why he wins. And when they asked him, I said, would you be one of the change parties, or if you don't make it, would you support one of these other guys? Trump goes, no. And I go, holy shit, Donald, don't say that. You know what I mean? All those guys are Republicans, and you're like saying, I don't give a shit about the party. But I said, why did he do that? And what he says, it gives me leverage. He never commits unless he has leverage. And that's why he wins. So I'm going, wow. So I watched that, I go, fantastic. So I learned that. I don't have to be as big an asshole as he is, but I can learn from the guy. And the thing that is surprising about him is I've spent years with him. That is who he is. He doesn't give a shit. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks. My wife was with him one time, Kim, and we were in his office, and he was talking about other women. And Kim goes, but Donald, you're married to a beautiful woman. He goes, so what? I mean, he is who he is. So that is the power of what you guys are in today. If you become an entrepreneur, you know what the call sign of an entrepreneur is? A real successful one? Fuck you. Okay. And I realize I'm in church, but I didn't do well in church either, and I didn't do well in school. So that is who I am. I mean, Ryan over there, you know that, right? Where is Bob here, Turner? They're not here. I don't give a shit. And today I'm going to tell you why I don't give a shit. Okay? You have that possibility. So before I begin is, for those one or two who haven't read my book, my story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a true story about my rich dad, who was my best friend's father, was an entrepreneur who had never finished school, and my poor dad was the head of education for the state of Hawaii. And he graduated from university in 2 years. He was valedictorian in high school, and he went to Stanford, Northwestern, and University of Chicago, and he had his PhD. And I used to say PhD stood for poor, helpless, and desperate, which he did not like. And the way the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad begins was when I was 9 years old in Hilo, a sugar plantation town. I'm sitting in class, and I made the mistake of raising my hand and actually asking the teacher this question. He says, when are we going to learn about money? And she says, wash your mouth out. We don't teach you about money in school. The love of money is the root of all evil. That's why you're fucked if you go to school, you know what I mean? So I graduated. So Rich Dad started teaching me playing Monopoly. So we played Monopoly for hours, and finally I asked him, why are we playing Monopoly? And he says, well, one of the great formulas, and there's many formulas to get rich. As Warren Buffett says, there's many ways to heaven, financial heaven. The way that Warren Buffett does it is different than me. The way that Al Capone did it is different than me, drug dealers do the same process, although they're outside the law. It's no big deal to be an entrepreneur. My next door neighbor sells lemonade on Saturdays. The two little kids are selling lemonade, My housemaid is an entrepreneur, all that stuff. But to be a rich entrepreneur, different story. Very different story. It's more than just education. It's mindset, it's heart, and as my Mexican friends, cojones, testicles. So and you'll go as far as you want to go. That's the best thing about it. But anyway, I did go to a very good school. The reason I went to a very good school is because my poor dad says I'm broke and I can't afford your college education. I said, no problem, Dad, because I already knew how to make money. So my dad says, okay, you figure it out. So I got 2 scholarships, one to the United States Naval Academy and one to the United States Merchant Marine Academy. And I took the Merchant Marine Academy for one reason, Naval Academy graduates, this is 1965 when I was getting out of high school. Naval Academy guys make $200 a month. King's Pointers made $2,000 a month. What we did was we drove the merchant ships like the freighters and Love Boat, passenger liner tugboats, and we're the highest paid graduates in the world. So when I graduated in 1969, my classmates were making 150 to 150,000 a year. So it's not bad in 1969. Okay, but I didn't go that route because the Vietnam War was still on. So in 1969, proving I don't know much, I joined the U.S. Marine Corps. And when they selected me for pilot training, so I went to flight school. The thing's falling off. But it was, flight school was the best school I'd ever been to. Because you'd study in the morning and fly in the afternoon, plus you had one impending event, Vietnam. So since it was life or death, I studied. And so I went from flight school, I flunked out of flight school like I flunked out of most schools. But I did graduate and I went to Camp Pendleton, California, and went to advanced. I flew the helicopter gunship and straight to Vietnam. And it was the best. You know, it's when people are shooting at you, you kind of pay attention, if you know what I mean. So basically, that's my educational background. But when I came back in 1973, I realized I'd been lied to by my government. We weren't in Vietnam to kill commies. We're in there fighting for the military-industrial complex called Boeing, Northrop, Grumman, those guys. You know, they make bombs and stuff. We were blowing up millions of dollars, killing water buffaloes and kids and women. You know, it's like, I don't want to be a part of this. So, 1973, my military career was over. I couldn't kill anymore, and I came home and to Hawaii. I was stationed at Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, my last 2 years in the Marine Corps. My poor dad had been fired. He was 50 years old, PhD, unemployed. And that's when I started to grow up. I was now about 26 years old. And I asked my poor dad, you know, I'm back from Vietnam. He says, what should I do? What do you recommend? He says, why don't you go back to, I sailed oil tankers for Standard Oil. You know, I sailed out of Richmond, California to Alaska, Hawaii, Tahiti, and back. It was a good run, making a lot of money, but I hated it. And then he says, so why don't you fly for the airlines? I said, Dad, I'm a helicopter gunship pilot. Could you imagine? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain. I suggest you strap fucking in now. He says, you're right. So he says, why don't you get your MBA? I said, okay. He says, you know, you can get a job with the government. I say, Dad, I'd rather go back to Vietnam and kill people than do that. You know, it's more honest. So with that, I went to see my rich dad, and he says, well, you got to figure it out for yourself. You got to make your own decisions. So my rich dad suggested I go get my MBA. He says it's completely worthless, but you can go there. But you got to find out for yourself if it's worthless. At the same time, he says, what I suggest is you take a course in real estate. And it's a 3-day course. So I said, why real estate? He says, 2 reasons, debt and taxes. The only reason you invest in real estate is because you want to use debt, other people's money, and you want to pay no tax. So I got it. And then the third program I took was a personal development program called EST, back at the EST, and today it's called Landmark. And when I finished Landmark and when I finished my real estate course, I dropped out of the MBA program. And so exactly as my rich dad said, I had to find out where it was the best education for me. Does that make sense, you guys here? So anyway, I congratulate you guys for choosing hopefully what's best for you. You never know. But when I got out of the Marine Corps in 1974, I said, how do I become an entrepreneur? And he says, well, number one skill of an entrepreneur, you got to sell. I'm a very shy person. You won't believe it, but I had to learn. Good thing about combat teaches you to overcome your fear. You know. So I was offered a job at IBM and Xerox because of the best sales training. And I took Xerox. One reason is because IBM guys they sucked. The Xerox guys were beer drinkers and rugby players. I said, I'll go to this company. So I spent 4 years with Xerox, and I was at the bottom of the rung, and my rich dad said I could quit when I'm number 1. The trouble was I was so afraid of selling. I go like this. No, beat it. We don't want a Xerox machine, So I go and buy a plate lunch and eat because, I stuff my feel. And that's how it's. And so finally I said, I said to my rich dad, I'm going to get fired. I'm on a 20-something sales reps on bottom. He says, why? You're the bottom? I said, yeah. Because I had gone to the Xerox training school in Virginia and all this stuff. And I was good in Xerox classes, but I wasn't good on the street. So Rich dad asked me one question. He says, how many sales calls do you make a day? It's on a good day, 3. Bad day, 0. He says, that's why you're failing. He says, if you want to be successful, you have to increase your rate of failure. Now that goes completely against school systems. School systems, you make 1 mistake, you're an idiot. 2 mistakes, you're stupid. And 3, you're kicked out. So in our school systems, we punish kids for making mistakes. When you look at the way we're really designed to learn, I learned to walk by falling down, learn to run by falling down, ride a bicycle by falling down. Our school system punishes you for making mistakes. How stupid is that? And worst of all, I'm being taught by somebody I don't like. Now, I was in economics in the MBA program, and this guy was saying something, teaching me the velocity of money, and the guy had no idea what he was talking about. I said, you don't know what you're talking about. He says, how dare you tell me I don't know what I'm talking about? I said, because you don't. So I got kicked out of that class. So anyway, understand, ladies and gentlemen, you have to find, my lesson to you is find where you can survive the best. See, one of the reasons I'm terrified about coming to church is that the walls might fall down because I'm in here, you know what I mean? And I don't want a job because I don't want to be there. So the most important lesson is find the environment where you do best in. For example, Tiger Woods found his genius on the golf course. Other people find their genius on the basketball court. So those are environments. So I found my genius as an entrepreneur. So understand what I'm saying here? So wherever you guys are at, there's so many different ways you can make it. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You got to find the way that works best for you. Don't follow what I do. The reason I love Amazing Academy, they say your product doesn't mean shit. That's true. So that's where it began. And so in 1978, I left Xerox, and I've never had a paycheck since. And the problem with most people who go to school, they're taught to work for a fucking paycheck. You know how dependent that makes you if you don't have a paycheck? Now, it was a horrible experience in 1978 because how many people have noticed that money goes out faster than it comes in? So when I started my business, I thought it was pretty hot stuff, about $150K. It was gone in 3 months. And I was broke. And that's when I became an entrepreneur. I was at swap meets selling crap. I was cutting deals, doing anything to never get a job again. That's the difference. I haven't had a job since. Now, I do receive paychecks, but I signed them. There's a big difference. Okay, so that's really kind of the journey you're embarked upon. Okay? Now, another thing I hated in schools, I hated lecture. So one of the ways that we teach at Rich Dad is I say some stuff, and then I give you about a minute to discuss what I said. I don't care what you said because I can't censor it anyway. But I just want you to discuss what you heard from me. We all hear different things. Like some of you are going to say, that fucking Kiyosaki, he's full of shit, man. So others will say, he shouldn't swear. He's not going to go to heaven. He says, I'm not going to fail. I'm going to be perfect. So I'll give you 1 minute. So you can turn to somebody and basically discuss what you just heard me say, because you have a better chance of retaining it. But understand that what you heard is different than your neighbor heard. So that's why you discuss what you heard. At the end of it, I'll say, please begin finishing up and stop. This is a very important part of learning, to talk to your neighbors. Except in school, when you talk to your neighbors at test time, it's called cheating. You know, I'm telling you something. That's why school teachers are broke. They think cooperation is cheating. You know, when I was a kid, the thing I noticed is that we all have money problems. Rich or poor, we have money problems. The difference is how we solve our money problems. My father, being a PhD, he solved his money problems on his own. He sat there at night trying to figure out how to pay his bills, how to make ends meet. And my rich dad, you know, he just got his team together, his bankers, his attorneys, his accountants, his real estate guys, his stockbrokers, and he solved problems as a team. In school, that's called cheating. Okay? So one of the objectives for you is to put together your team. If you're hanging out with idiots, you're in trouble. If you're hanging out with crooks, you're in trouble. The biggest problems I've had are people on my team. Okay? So just know that you choose this team carefully. One of the highest objectives you can have. So that's why this discussion part is essential. And I'll say one more thing that I upset a lot of people. I was just in Africa 4 days ago. And I said, I don't have business partners that are poor. Oh. And the room was filled with about half African blacks, you know. They went nuts. That's discrimination. I said, fuck you know. I said, my job to be an entrepreneur is to choose my team. If I'm a corporate guy, I can't choose my team. If I'm in the stock market, I don't choose who I invest with. So the most important, I'm trying to tell you something right now, the highest advantage you're operating towards is to put together the best team you can put together. If there's nothing else you do that. See, my poor dad, the only people he hung out with were school teachers, all part of the teachers' union. That's why they're poor. Birds of a feather flock together. Losers hang out with losers. Middle-class people hang out with middle class. Entrepreneurs hang out with entrepreneurs, and corporate guys hang out with corporate guys. We're not the same people. So as you develop, you're developing who you want to become. Okay? So this discussion is extremely important. You have somebody who doesn't want to discuss, say fuck you to them. Get off the fucking team. I'm serious. I mean, that's how you win. You have a team that sucks, doesn't want to play, is incompetent, is arrogant, or dishonest, or immoral, that's your team. It is the most important thing you can put together. People, I don't care what in you're in, the most important person, the most important key to success is called your social network. Who are the 10 most important, who are the 10 people you hang out with? I do not hang out with poor people. I say hello to them, I like them, they're my brothers and sisters, you know, stuff like this. But we don't do business together. Is that clear, the guys here? Hello? Hello, you understand what I'm saying here? I am not here wasting my fucking time. I just gave you the number one objective you can go for is who is on your team. Okay? If you have a pack of losers, liars, scumbags, drug dealers, womanizers on your team, that's your team. My team, we have a very strict code of honor. Guy who owns this business, Blair Singer, is part of my team. We don't cheat on our wives. If we catch one of our guys on our team cheating on their wives, we tell their wives. Okay? No, 70% of men cheat on their wives. That's the stat. I don't cheat on my wife. I'm tempted, but I don't. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Hello? Business is moral, spiritual, mental, all that stuff. If you think you can hang out with a scumbag who doesn't want to study, who doesn't want to be here with you, you shouldn't have him on your team. My team meets twice a year, Blair Singer included. You don't show up, duly noted. We show each other our financials because financials are your report card to where you are. So that's why discussion is important. If you don't ask the tough questions of the people on your team, if you have somebody who wants to be in your team, but they're not willing to be sitting where you are today, I'd reconsider that one. In the Marine Corps, we'll just take them out back and shoot them. That's much easier. You think I'm kidding? Okay? It's a different code the Marine Corps has. We used to say, you know, the mission of the United States Marine Corps is to travel to faraway places, meet nice people, and shoot them. Now, if you don't want to do that, don't be a Marine. If you, well, I want to go to faraway places, meet nice people, and save them, well, join the Coast Guard. Different mission, different team, different people. Does that make sense, you guys here? Hello, do you understand what I'm saying here? I'm giving you lessons that they don't teach at business school. Your team is essential, especially when you're a startup. If you have a husband or a wife who's not here today, I'd consider that. I would. How many people know my wife, Kim? Yeah. She's one of the smartest, richest women around. She'll kick most guys' asses financially. Do that make sense, you guys here? So when I was in Africa, when I said, I have friends, my friends, I don't have friends who are poor. I mean, I don't have business partners who are poor. Because their being is poor. Okay? So with that, you have 1 minute. Discuss what I said, what you heard, even if you don't like it. 1 minute. This is not a break. Do not come up to talk to me because I will not answer your question. And it's not a time for selfies or going to the pee break. Ready, go. 1 minute. much more time?
30 minutes.
Okay. Please begin finishing up. And stop. Give your partner a high five and say, you're smart. Okay, great group. Great group. If I haven't offended 100% of you yet, I'll push harder. Now, I am serious. I congratulate you for being here, but I also will pray for you tonight. Because, quitting my job was the easy part. Man, and the more successful I got, the bigger crooks I ran into. I hate to tell you this, but if you're not smart, don't bend over and pick up the soap. You know what I mean? I'm glad you guys all speak English. No, the point here is this. The reason you have a team is to cover your ass. And I hate to say this, in every business I've had so far, every partner fucked me. I say, how could this happen? I'm such a nice guy, And that's the reason personal development, I do meditation, visualization, I read spiritual books and stuff like this, because I'm looking for the source of my spirit. I don't go to church. Nothing wrong with going to church. But I find quiet, silence, hard to achieve. So meditation is silence. That's tough. Prayer is me talking to God. Silence is God talking to me. But the way God talks to you is through your prefrontal cortex, your frontal lobe here. And that's where happiness is found. So the more you meditate, the more this expands. But inside the old brain, the limbic system is where chatter comes from. And most of the times I'm listening to the angry me speaking. So for me to meditate, anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes a day, it builds this up here. It makes me kinder and more sensitive for about 5 seconds. You know what I mean? It's getting better, though. So even my wife knows that we were just in Zimbabwe where they were killing Cecil. And no, those guys fuck you every single minute. Fucking guys. Zimbabwe is a collapsed economy because Mugabe took the money out. They printed money, just like we're doing today. And, but anyway, at the airport, they say, "I'm sorry, we didn't tell you this. You already paid for your private plane into the zone, but your luggage is going to be $3,500. And so I started to meditate. I was pretty proud of myself. I did not lose it. Kim did. So she was kind of proud of me, and I was proud of me. I said, holy fuck, I didn't punch the guy out. So I just paid and said, let's go. But that's the economy today. Because, there's a lot of reasons for that. That's what this book is about here, Second Chance. And it's called the Gross Universal Cash Heist. Grunge, Gross Universal Cash Heist. It's how they fuck us by the money. So the reason since 1913, the year the Fed was formed, the US dollar has lost 95% of its value. It's not going to take much longer for it to go to zero. Okay? So that's a very important thing. In here, you'll find pictures of my team. I wrote this book for people who don't like to read. There's all these pictures in here. They're graphs from the US. They're graphs, it shows why you're getting fucked, stuff like that. You can show it to your son. That's how you're getting fucked. But anyway, it shows decline of the middle class, and that's why it's a good thing you're here. I think it's one of the more important charts here is it shows that the rich, the so-called rich, they're going down. The guys making over $250,000, they're losing. So anyway, but in here, you'll find pictures of the Rich Dad Company, as well as my team. So if you want to see what my team looks like, that's who they look like. They're all entrepreneurs, they're all multimillionaires, they're all financially independent, they're all great people. We all operate by the same code of honor. We all study together twice a year. And you don't want to play by those rules, fuck you, get off the team. It's like the Marine Corps. And that's what I loved about the Marine Corps is that you had to be the very, very best because your life depended upon it. I went down 3 times in Vietnam. I'm alive today because of my team. Okay? And that's the same as entrepreneurship. So that's why I say the easy part I knew in 1978 after I got back from Vietnam was quitting my job. Never taking a paycheck again. And I haven't. Everybody got that? Hello? And that's where some of you are going. The next thing is this. Who knows lesson number 1, chapter 1 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Be yourself? Oh, that whole bunch of horse crap is that. No, it's not it. It's partly it, but I'm going to go into why. And why you guys are in the right place at the right time. I'm not saying you're going to make it, but I'm saying it's worth it. Okay. Lesson number 1. What is it, Ryan? The rich don't work for money. So I know some of you are sitting out there, you want to start your business so you can make some fucking money. And that's understandable. But Second Chance explains why you don't want money. Money is corrupt today. Today, the world economic system is controlled by the ultra-rich. I don't know if you guys know, but Goldman Sachs set up the last crash through the derivatives, credit default, CDOs, credit default obligations, credit swaps, and all this stuff, and they're still in power. Goldman Sachs now controls all of Europe. A Goldman Sachs guy is inside the Bank of England, and a Goldman Sachs guy, they now control the U.S. Paulson was the CEO of Goldman Sachs when the crash came. They fuck us every chance they get. They're a corrupt organization, but they do it legally. I like them a lot. Okay, so now what they do is they set up LTCM, long-term capital management. Well, it was the fault of Russia in 1998. What they do is they sell you something and then they trade against you. So they get you in debt, and then they bust you. They did the same thing to Greece. They do it all over the world. They get away with it because they make the rules. Everybody understand that? Hello? So if you're in the stock market, you're getting fucked too, because they have now a thing called HFT, or high-frequency trading, and a thing called dark pools. So you give your money to your pension fund. They give it to Goldman. Goldman dumps it in there, and they rip the fuck out of it. The people you trust are fucking you. If you can understand that, you'll know why you're in the right place at the right time. This is the book that I wrote to kind of give you an idea about that. Okay? Hello? Yes. So there's good news and bad news. I'm not in the stock market. I don't want a job because I don't want to pay taxes. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to explain why. Everybody ready? Yes. Okay. So I'll pray for you, but the journey is about to begin. This is from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's basically a financial statement. Okay. So this is where financial education begins, really simply. In this flip chart, when people talk about financial literacy, they don't know what they're talking about, most of them. Financial literacy begins with 6 words, okay? Literacy means can you speak the language of money. And the basic words are income, expense, asset, liability, and the most important word is 2 words, cash flow. The number one thing an entrepreneur has to learn to do is control their cash flow. If you cannot control your cash flow, you're fucked. That's the only way it is. The worst thing about being an entrepreneur is when you hire an employee, they can fuck you and they don't have to pay for it. It's one of the most frightening things about being an entrepreneur. So for those who read the book here, assets, put money in your pocket. Liabilities, take money from your pocket. That is basically it. As an entrepreneur, that's what I must learn to do. The reason most people cannot become entrepreneurs is when they receive their paycheck, it comes in here, first line of expense, taxes. You don't have a prayer. The moment you make that money after the 1943 Current Tax Payment Act, they start sucking the cash. You got paid, you get paid, but the government got paid first. Okay? That's the problem with being an employee. So, this is basically it. There's 4 basic asset classes. Number 1 is a business. Some of you will get there, okay? Some of you will. It's very tough. The richest people in the world own businesses. Real estate. The beauty of real estate is because I use other people's money and I pay 0 tax. If you understand that, that's why the Rich Tech Company has real estate courses and all that to teach you how to fuck the government, but you'll understand that it's you're in partnership with the government. Next are stocks, paper assets. And the reason I don't touch it is because it's a big ripoff. You have mutual funds, you don't have a prayer in mutual funds because all your profits are sucked out in fees, invisible fees. And today, since 2007 with HFT, high-frequency trading, derivatives and all that, you don't have a prayer either. They trade against you. It is part of the business plan. You give them their money, they fuck you. They say, and you just say thank you. You get your money back, if there's anything left. If they lose your money, it's your problem, not theirs. That's the game. And the last are commodities. Like food is a commodity. Okay? So is gold and silver. But if the market crashes, if the economy crashes, as it did in Zimbabwe, as it has in Greece, and now Puerto Rico and Argentina set to go, Venezuela just collapsed, Japan's in trouble, China's in trouble. There's 4 commodities you need, 4 precious metals. Okay? Gold, silver, guns, bullets. Okay, you got that? And you think I'm kidding. One thing, why I don't live in Arizona? Because I can carry machine guns legally. As a Marine, you don't want to go into a battle without a machine gun. You want the unfair advantage. It is how I think, okay? So, you see, I cannot do this talk to school teachers. If there was a cross hanging there, I'd be hanging on it. It wouldn't be a Jewish guy, it'd be a Japanese guy. So welcome to my world. How many people read the second book, Cashflow Quadrant? Okay, good. I think it's the most important book for you guys. So this here is a quadrant, E, S, B, and I. E stands for employee, S stands for self-employed small business, or star, like a professional athlete or a movie star. And B stands for big business, 500 employees or more, and I stands for investor. Not passive investor, not 401k and Roth IRA guys, professional investors. Very big difference. So when people go to school, they say, go to school and get a job. That's where you wind up, like my poor dad. Or you become, my mother was a nurse, she wanted to become a doctor or a lawyer. And I said to my mom, Mom, there's only one problem with doctors and lawyers, is they're smart people. She goes, oh, good idea, don't become a doctor or a lawyer, okay? Now you have to be very smart here. Entrepreneurs are idiots. You don't have to worry about that. They don't have to be the smartest guy. So some of you say, oh, I have to get smart. You don't. You have to have, what I said earlier, the best team. But the question is, who wants you on your team? As a young boy, we learned very early, if we're playing softball in school, if somebody didn't want you in the team, they kicked you off. Today, everybody gets to play, which is a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, if nobody wants you on their team, you're in trouble. Everybody got that? Hello? That's why you want to be good as an entrepreneur. If you're very good, everybody wants you in a team, including crooks, con men, and scumbags. So you got to be very careful. But you get very good, everybody wants you in a team. If you're not good, nobody wants you in the team. Everybody understand that? Yes. Hello? Yes. So that's why you're here studying. You want to get very good at what you're studying. It's not about the money. It's becoming very, very good at what you do. So this is the thing I want to talk to you about. It's in 1973. Okay, the rich don't work for money. Which quadrant did my rich dad say to go to? Somebody said it, this one. The reason he sent me to real estate school for 3 days was to learn to be an investor. Because ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, if you're successful, you'll wind up here. If you're not successful, you'll wind up in other places. Okay? The ultimate thing about being an investor is that I fund startups. I don't fund too many because most guys are incompetent. I don't want to waste my money. That's true. I meet so many people who want me to loan them $1 million or something. Why? So they can pay themselves a salary. Fuck them. You don't get to live off of my money. You run a business. Okay? Hello? Yes. So I only invest with guys who don't need the money. That's catch-22. It's very interesting. As I said, when you can make a lot of money, money comes at you, if you understand that. So today, I would guess that most of you, many of you are coming from here to here. And that's what I had to do. So you're in the right place. Unfortunately, most people get stuck here. There's nothing wrong with that except for you'll pay 60% in taxes here. Over here it's 40% in taxes. Over here is 20%, zero. That's why I started with real estate. So today, over here, if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Ray Kroc said, McDonald's is not in the business of hamburgers. McDonald's is in the business of real estate. I'm in real estate. Okay? Most of my money comes from here, real estate. So I own about 10,000 properties now. So I got 10,000 properties every month sending cash here. The more real estate I have, I pay no tax. So when I make $1, I don't know if you can understand this, I make, let's say, $1 million here or $10,000 here. I move the money here, and I marry it. So if I have, let's say $1 million, and I marry it with $4 million worth of debt, because debt is tax-free, and I don't pay tax then. If you understand that game, you've made it. Okay. It's the game. So all of you, or most of you, I'm sure some of you are pretty good on this side already, but ultimately you want to get here. Does that make any sense, you guys here? Because I want to make all the money, I want to pay no tax, I want to say fuck you to the government. I will move so fast you fuck with me. Does that make sense, you guys here? Yes. That's the attitude. How many people think Apple is an American company? It's an international company. They're going down, but their factories aren't here, their offices here. Their money is in Switzerland, their factories are in China. That's how you get rich. You guys are getting very close to it. It's a way of thinking. That's why chapter 1 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad says, rich don't work for money. I don't want any money because I pay tax. What I want to do is I make my money here and get it into here as quickly as possible, which is here. That's my job. I'm functionally incompetent as a CEO. Ryan will attest to that. Right? I get no respect in my own company, which is a good thing. But I have a great team. Does that make sense, you guys here? Yes. There's a very big... The trouble with these guys on this side is they work for money. The trouble with being a small business, if you stop, your income stops. You guys got that? There's nothing wrong with it. But I ask you to keep moving, to keep learning. Never stop learning. Go to seminars. My wife and I go to seminars 2-3 times a year just to stimulate our brains. That's why. To meet people like you and take their money. I mean, to business. So, I'll say it again. I would say most of you are moving here, and I congratulate you for being part of Amazing, because you learned the basics here. Then one day you start to move as you grow, okay? My first business was a nylon and Velcro surfer wallet business. The problem was we went straight up here, we went broke that fast. You know why? Because we couldn't finance it. Success is expensive. We started selling so many nylon wallets, I had to keep borrowing more money to buy inventory, hire more staff, bigger warehouses. I mean, success nearly killed me because I didn't have the skill set to be here. Then when that business crashed, I never went bankrupt. When that business crashed, the Velcro wallet business was a good thing because then I figured out what's the next business. It was rock and roll. So I started working with the rock bands, Duran Duran, Van Halen, Boy George, and all this, still over here, but unfortunately went real big again here. I was not ready to be big. Does that make sense, you guys here? Yes. So that's why you're in the right space. Fuck the product. Get good. Everybody understand that? Yes. Sell dog food, dog shit, sell whatever you want to sell. But get good at it. Do that make sense, you guys here? Yes. Fuck it. And then, when I got pretty good, one day I think God or Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad came through and they said, hey, you've learned enough. Do something good for humanity. So that's where this book starts here. 1983, sold everything and started teaching. And made mega millions as a teacher. Does that make sense, you guys here? It's not the product. It's the entrepreneur. It's the spirit. I'm only doing what I think God wants me to do, teach, but not inside the communist system of school. Everybody understand that? They come after me. I have businesses all over the world. I'll run. My money is not in this country. Got it? And everything I do is legal. Just like Donald Trump. You know, they don't understand how, did you go bankrupt? He said, I didn't go bankrupt. One of my 55 companies went bankrupt. I've had one of my companies go bankrupt. 1 out of 27. Oh, you declared bankruptcy. Fuck you, you bastard. You don't even know. You haven't taken any risk and you're accusing me of going bankrupt? And I didn't go personally bankrupt because nobody touches this here. Does that make sense, you guys here? And these peasants, these fucking journalists that Trump hates too, they don't know that because most journalists are over here. Does that make sense, you guys here? So so the last thing, and then let you take a break and talk, is what makes the differences in every quadrant. You have mindset, skill sets, and rules. The mindset, skill set, and rules, each of these quadrants is different. These guys say only a couple of things. I want job security and benefits. If you don't change that mindset, stay there. You're better off. These guys over here, their mindset is you want to do it right, do it by yourself. Okay, they're the Lone Ranger. They're the tough individual. Over here, I want to find out the best guys on earth to run my company. I'm not my CEO. Does that make sense, you guys here? I want to find the best CEO possible. It's not me. It's not my wife. And over here, I want to find other people's money because only lazy people use their own money. So I am probably 500 million in debt. Debt makes you rich because money is no longer money. Money is now debt. It's a different mindset, skill set, and rules. So as you move from here to here, your mindset will change, your skill sets will change, your rules will change. The move from here to here, mindset will change, skill set will change, rules will change. Same thing over here. They're all different people. My goal was to get over here so that nobody wanted me anymore because I'm incompetent, but I have a lot of money. It's like Donald Trump. I have a lot of money. So, give you 1 or 2 minutes to discuss what you just heard. Remember this. This is where I started because this is where I wanted to wind up. I wanted to wind up here because this is what's important to me, not my job, not a paycheck. It's a mindset, skill set, rule set change. Discuss what you heard as best you can. If you didn't understand a word I said, just pretend you did. They didn't understand either. Have a good time. Ready, go. I'm going to finish and go. please begin finishing up. And stop, high five, so you're smart, and I'll finish up. Give everybody a high five, say you're smart. Come on, you guys, high five and say you're smart. Okay, so let me just finish up. My boss is here. So I'd like to bring up my sweetheart, Kim. Best decision I made to get married. Here it is. "30 years we've been together." When she met me, I had no money, right?
No money, and the 30 years have not been boring.
It's like my friend says, it's been like...
No, you gotta go the other way.
Say, you say it.
So,
This is what wives are for, they interrupt.
well, I don't have a microphone.
Right there.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. So how many of you know Ken McElroy, our real estate advisor, Rich Dad advisor? So he and his wife were celebrating their 8th year wedding anniversary. And Kenny goes, they're talking about being married, and Kenny's like, yeah, it's been 8 years. And his wife, Laura, goes, oh, 8 years, yeah, but it really just seems like 8 minutes underwater. But it's been an adventure. It's been a great journey, and it never slows down, and it's not going to stop.
Yeah. And we continue, and then the moment I met Kim was 84.
84.
And we took a leap of faith because I knew we could make it, just didn't know how. And instead of building rock and roll products, I said, we're going to teach. And now we're entrepreneurs in education, kicking ass, saying fuck you to the system, No, it's cool. It's the biggest ripoff going, in my opinion. They should be shot for malpractice. But anyway, as an entrepreneur, people giggle and laugh, go, I don't remember crap from school. I just learned that I was stupid and don't make mistakes. That's what I learned. And thank God I don't do that. So anyway, we're out on our crusade to hassle the school system. I'm not blaming the teachers, it's the system. Does that make sense, you guys here? I'm a disruptor, I'm supposed to do. We're going to create financial education for people throughout the world.
That's my dog.
Okay, anything you want to say to the women?
Well, I'm happy to see so many women here.
Yay, for the women!
I say your financial education and entrepreneurship really is for women. It's self-defense. And given the economy and the way things are going, I definitely see that's true. How many are here with couples?
All right.
Excellent. Nice. Because, this is such a journey. And as Robert and I, 30 years ago, we started out, and we made a very conscious decision that we were going to learn together. And because we wanted to grow together. And, a lot of couples, as they get older, they have less and less in common. Their goal was to get married. Then the goal was to have a house. Then the goal was to have kids. And so our goal was to make a difference in the world through education. And that when Robert said, thank you, thanks. And I think one of the keys to any success in business is when Robert said we took a leap of faith, is we really took a leap into the unknown. I mean, we hit the wall, and we were broke, and we were homeless, and we went through all of that. But it's that going into the unknown, which is very uncomfortable and scary at times. But boy, when you get through it, you're a different person, and ideally a better person. So we keep looking for those leaps into the unknown even today, because that's how we grow, and that's where we're going to make the biggest impact.
And I may not be religious, but I believe there's a God. And, Kim just came back. She's now asked to go and speak in London, for all the women there. She was in Paris, and she's in South Africa because she took that leap of faith, right?
Yeah, it's exactly it. And for me, it's about I've got to stay in motion. I've got to keep growing. I've got to keep learning, because the world is not going to slow down.
So anyway.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Give it up for the Robert Kiyosaki and his wife, Kim. Thank you very much.
Oh, wait. Please.
I was told he's on a tight schedule, but keep going.
Okay.
I'm not stopping.
No,
you.
I have to go. We built a house I've never seen, so I got to go see it. That's like true. No, I have a house that is a prepper cabin. I expect this thing's going to come down. Okay, so I have food, water, machine guns, ammunition, and gold and silver. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it does, I'll be ready for it. Does that make sense, you guys here? So that's where we're going. I hope it doesn't happen. Another thing about gold and silver, I don't buy gold and silver as an investment. I buy it as insurance. Okay? I don't think the US dollar will be around much longer. Gold and silver will. Does that make sense, you guys here? So if it happens, I hope it doesn't, we're ready for it. Okay? So the final word is this. Is the reason I started here and wind up here is because this is the ultimate goal. If you remember from this, rich don't work for money. The power of the journey you guys are embarking upon now is that you will never need money again. You see, the whole financial system is corrupt, completely corrupt. It's a kleptocracy. Kleptocracy means when the politicians, the bureaucrats, corporations, and government are ripping us all off. Now, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but as Kim says, financial education is self-defense from that. We're not going to change the crooks. How many people realize crooks are going to be crooks? Especially when you're making millions of dollars. So what, you know? So the ultimate goal is this, ladies and gentlemen. If you complete what you're going through here, you will never need money again. Never. So you can say, well, how can, you can never say I can't afford something ever again. So the question is, how do you do this without money? You do it with knowledge. The Rich Dad Company was started on zero. Today we make millions and millions and millions and millions tax-free. With those millions, we acquire real estate, and I say on the stock market, and gold, silver, and all that stuff. Once you understand that what you started here is the power of creating your body, mind, and spirit and emotions to manifest money out of thin air, it's called the Midas touch. If you push your learning, your spirituality, be honest, trustworthy, hang out with great people, you can manifest money. Congratulations, guys. Thanks. Thank you.
Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, give it up.
Thank you. I have to run. Excuse me.
So Robert's on a very tight schedule, so they need to get out, unfortunately, so we're not going to be able to get any pictures, but I hope you appreciate it. He went extra, as you see. He gave it from the heart, and I hope you guys got a lot out of that. I know I personally did. I always learned so much from Robert, and I thank you guys for being here.